Alright, that's just the deal. Hi everybody, this is Angelo Quinones, and you reached I Am Ministries. I Am Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. Now, I'm chuckling before I get into this Bible study and before I pray because this is dog that's barking at around 2:40 in the morning. I mean, can somebody shoot the dog, please, and put him out of his misery? I mean, good God. I mean, just shoot the just like old Yeller. Just shoot him. I mean, just like a horse. That's lame. I mean, you do it to a horse. I don't want to hear any, public outcry. I mean, come on, man. I mean, just stop. Just he always barks at all the dogs. I mean, all the dogs are just sleeping and stuff like that. They don't even pay attention to the dude. He's probably, a senior citizen of the dogs. I mean, I'm just saying. Goodness gracious. I mean, I could see if there was a stranger, I'm in the Philippines to my chagrin, I relocated from the United States of America, New York City, by the way, and I relocated to my chagrin 5 years ago. It's going to be this year. I mean, good God, just shoot the guy. I mean, I'm talking about a dog. Just shoot him. I mean, it's an old Yeller. Just shoot the dude. Goodness gracious! I'll take a BB gun or something. Take him out, please. I mean, he does this every night. Goodness great. It's a blessing that he's kind of doing this because he's doing it. I can't go to sleep, so I'd rather do the study anyway. I just can't take it though, man. Goodness gracious! I wonder if there's gonna be dogs in the Great Tribulation. I mean, good God, come on, man. It's just like Joe Biden all over again. Come on, man. All right, well, let me read the scripture. It's recorded. I mean, come on, man, with the stuff already. Good God. I mean, it's just... A dog is a man's best friend. Now, give me a break. Sometimes a wife is not even a man's best friend. I mean, come on, man. The stuff. And it was kind of funny before I get into the study that I have. It's like I don't know if like God was giving me a choice. I love my wife Risa. I love her. But I'm just saying. When I was flying from the United States of America to the Philippines in 2018 on October the 26th. And then, somebody said before I took my flight, like a couple of days before or whatever, oh, well, my husband died on that day, on the 26th of October. Gee, thanks. That's just what I needed. A little bit of encouragement on a 15-hour flight, the first one anyway. The second flight was 4 hours, So anyway, I was in the airplane, and then what do you call it? So I was sitting next to two people, but I was sitting in the airplane next to a person from China. So this woman, and she was really nice and stuff like that. She was like a little bit talkative and helping me out and stuff like that because I'm legally blind. I can't really see that well, so I see everything small. That's my problem. Everything clear but small. And she was helping me out with this, with that, with the coffee, with the rice or whatever. She was very helpful. And then I was saying, well, something, I'm going to the Philippines. I'll get right to the study in a second. I'm going to the Philippines, so I mean, I'm going to the Philippines. And she said, to get married. And then she said to me, "Oh, you sure? Are you sure about the decision? Are you sure?" It was like she was wooing me to go to China with her or something like that, And I was saying in my heart, I said, "I don't know this lady. I don't know this dame. I'm gonna just, drop my ideas of. I mean, the whole family plus Riza is waiting for me in the airport for about 5 hours. So you think I'm just gonna, pick up my stuff? First of all, my stuff is I'm not gonna get my stuff because my stuff, my luggage, at least two of the four pieces are in the luggage compartment, and that's gonna go to the Philippines. So I mean, if I make the decision to go with her, which wasn't even my thought, I mean, I have to, retrieve somehow those pieces of luggage from the Philippines, and then call her a reason and say, oh, by the way, I just met a Chinese lady, that sat next to me. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go marry you after all. Goodbye. Goodness gracious, life Life here in the Philippines, I'll tell you. Very strange. But is that going to be as strange as the Great Tribulation time? No. This is going to be doggy dog. Every man for himself. No pun intended, by the way. All right, it says over here, verse 29, by the way. Now, we already saw verse 28, and it says, it talks about the certainty of these things, the assurance of these things happening, guarantee, 100% guarantee that there's a carcass, okay, a body, whether, human or animal, outside, okay, dead. I mean, the vultures are going to be gathered around that body. And Jesus uses that in verse 28 to set forth to us the guarantee of these events, and that's just the deal. Now, let's read this here. Let's record it. It says immediately, okay, after the suffering, I think that tribulation, the Greek word is thlipsis with a theta, nowadays called theta. Starting off the Greek word, I think that tribulation is better here. There's an article also, tribulation, with it, the tribulation, okay, of those days, Hemeron, and Ekenon, right? The sun, Helios, okay, will be darkened. Future tense sigma in that Greek word we saw. We're not going to look at the Greek of this verse because we have to pay attention to the upcoming verse, part 2 of the study there. And the moon, okay, Selene, and the moon will not, Greek word u, give its light, okay. And it says over here, the stars will fall. Okay, future tense, sigma there in that Greek verb. From heaven. Okay, from heaven. I believe that's uranu in the singular. And the powers of the heavens. Okay, I think that's uranon in the plural. It's in the singular here, but it's in the plural in Greek. Will be shaken. Another future tense formative word there, sigma in the future tense there in the Greek. Now we're going to be studying, okay, we're going to be concentrating on verse 30. Now I already have a study, okay, based on verse 30, by the way. Okay, then the sign of the Son of Man, huiou tu anthropo in Greek, will appear in the heaven. And that's no doubt that's Urano with the Yoda subscript, all that stuff, but we're going to check it out. And all the tribes of the earth, okay, will mourn. They will see, and that's up there. That's Omicron to see. And plus, we're going to see that. We'll see from Harao, very strange. We'll see the Son of Man, okay, tu huiou, tu anthropo, but we'll check it out. Okay, arriving on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. With power and great glory. So this is one of, end quote, by the way, this is one of these verses, okay, one of the verses that talks about the coming of Jesus in a very stark way in this chapter. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we see that the coming of Jesus is alluded to one way or another in this chapter 12 times. Okay, I even included the phenomenal language, the example of phenomenal language to talk about the coming of our Lord. Okay, the lightning, as the lightning shines from the east. Okay, and comes from the east and shines in the west, so will the coming, so that language there is talking about Jesus. So I included that in the pool of of times where the word coming, or whatever the case may be, or something is talking about the coming of Jesus. 12 times specifically in this chapter is being spoken of, okay, meaning the coming of Jesus. Also, a Greek word parousia appears incidentally 4 times in verse 3, 27, 37, and 39. Parousia appears here in this chapter 4 times. And by the way, it's not accompanied with the word invisible. Aratas, okay, parousia is not to be found, a combination of Greek words, not to be found anywhere. Now, forget about this chapter, anywhere in the Bible. Okay, not even in the Greek Septuagint does aratos, parousia appear together. Okay, they're separately, but not together. Okay, so it's not an invisible coming or presence like the Watchtower Bible Tract Society, the dogs that they are. No pun intended, because I was talking about dogs at the beginning of the study. They're lying to the people when they teach that, and they taught that in an article entitled "The Sign of the Son of Man." Okay, I found and recorded in 1974, a year before the false prophecy, okay, date of I think October 21st or something like that, and October something. That was the date, the wrong prediction of the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society. That among many others, in 1975. Now, but let's get to here now, and also, what was the other thing that was found 5 times? Um, the end of the age or the end of the world. That's found and recorded 5 times. If you count, all the times that either the end of the age or the end of the world, whatever translation is being used, okay, to translate, eschatos there, that's found and recorded 5 times, meaning when this chapter mentions the end of the world or the end of the age, okay, that's found and recorded 5 times, alongside my count was with the many times that Jesus is coming is recorded specifically, either sort of point blank statement or language that alludes to that. Okay, that's 12 times altogether. But over here, the first part of this is then, and that's probably thought there in Greek. We're going to check out the Greek. Now, I split this into 2 studies because the Greek of this verse, okay, is very long. And this is the full Greek construction, so I'm going all the way through it. So that way we could be very well rounded, okay, versus anyone that doesn't believe in the deity of Christ or the coming of Jesus or whatever the case may be. And so I deal with the witnesses specifically, but I also deal with Islam and the Mormon church because they're so similar. Because Joseph Smith was a very great fan of the so-called Prophet Muhammad. So I go against them, but I really specialize not in, like let's say my old buddy in Powell, Obed Vargas, will specialize in the telling you of the specific things that the tower did, I could tell you some, but I can't tell you all because he was in the tower. I was not ever, part of the Jehovah's Witness cult. People like that, like brothers like that, people like that can tell you, a lot of things that I can't tell you, because I don't deal with that specifically, though I mentioned the false prophecies and stuff like that, whatever. But I specifically deal, okay, with the Greek of both Testaments and the Hebrew of both Testaments to actually showcase the doctrine of the Bible, so that way you could get a handle of it, so that way you can use it, okay, to reach or defeat the witnesses very easily, by the way. That's what I specialize in. So that's the part 2. That's the part 2 of the ministry. Sort of part 2 effect of the ministry, apologetics, and really part 1 is evangelical in nature. All right, now let's get to this here, sort of comment upon it. Then, probably, like I said, is the Greek word date, the sign, semeon, probably, of the Son of Man. Okay, we're going to look at it, huiou, anthropo, we're going to look at that, will appear, okay, in heaven, urano, and all the, probably pauses there, but we're going to see it, tribes of the earth will mourn. This is very similar to what's going to be found and recorded in Revelation chapter 1, verse 7, that all the tribes are going to mourn, as found there, as a matter of fact. They, okay, will see, and that's horao, but in the future, very different stem, the Son of Man, tu anthropo, arriving on the clouds, plural, on the clouds of heaven, okay, of heaven, that'll be in the genitive, probably, urano, with power and great, okay, some sort of mega there. We're going to check it out. Glory, doxe. All right, now let's check out another translation over here recorded. Okay, let's see. We looked at Joel, okay, about the sun being darkened, but we already looked at that. Okay, we found that the sun is going to be darkened, and actually, if you look at the Greek, the order is that the sun is going to be darkened first, and then then the moon will not give dose, future transformative sigma in that word, do being the stem containing and the meaning of give, right? Is a me verb, by the way, didomi. That's the lexical form. And I want to give its light. It's referred, now it would have been gravy, like I said before in my last study, that the it would have referred to the sun. But that's not possible because it's masculine there, helios, ha helios, and then he selene is feminine. So in order for that to be the antecedent for sun to be the antecedent of autes, okay, then the genders have to match. Meaning the word it, the pronoun there will have to match. Not all three things. Number, gender, and case, but it has to match gender and number, and but the it will have to match those two out of the three. Case, it doesn't have to match at all. So that's just the deal. But that would have been gravy. But the order anyway is there anyway, because that would have been a cherry on the top and the icing on the cake. But if God would have had it like that, but the order is correct. Okay, the sun being darkened first, okay, will affect the moon. That the moon is not going to give any reflected light of the sun, obviously, because if the sun is darkened first, well, there's no light to reflect off of the moon. You understand what I'm saying? So that's going to be turned off like a switch. I mean, that's just the deal. All right, anyway, it says over here, I will display wonders, okay, in the sky. So God is going to do it, okay, and on the earth, blood, fire, and vapor, or columns. It says over here, columns of smoke. Okay, it says over here, the sun will be, okay, turned into darkness, and the moon into blood. I think there's going to be death on the moon. That's my opinion. The moon will be turned into blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord, okay, comes. You see, and the next verse says, and it will come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. That's from 32 of Joel chapter 2. Now, the Greek Septuagint has this completely, okay, different. Now, we're going to look at it to see, where is it actually found in Joel chapter 2, if it's found in Joel chapter 2 at all. We're going to see that, okay, because it doesn't coincide. It only has 27 verses. And over here, okay, sorry about that, guys. We have, more than 31 verses here, at least. I see 32 there. We saw that in Acts chapter 2 as well, and that's just the deal. Now, okay, so we saw we saw the Greek here. Okay, the Greek, not Septuagint, but the Greek, the Byzantine text form is not based on the most ancient authorities, but on verse, according to verse, where is it here? Let me just look at the Greek here. Okay, no, Helios, that's the sun, though. Okay, that's not what I want. Okay, because this is verse 30. Okay, Eutheos. Yeah, this is not verse 30, this is verse 29. Immediately is here. Yeah, no, Theos. So we already looked at the Greek there. And this completely says what the text of the most ancient authority says. Okay, it's the same thing. All these Greek words here, okay, and here, from an app that's based on the most ancient authorities. And how can I tell that the app is based on the most ancient authorities? Well, just compare, just compare any app with, a literal a book based Bible, and if it has, theos in John 1:18 instead of huios, you know that it is based on the most ancient text, and other things as well. So that's how I do it. I see the app, and I look at the Greek, and if it follows suit that then it has this or that, then you know that this or that is not in the Byzantine text. Okay, that's just the deal. All right, just like what? Give me an example. Okay, like an edition found and recorded. Okay, in the Byzantine text form that it's not found and recorded in Romans chapter 8 verse 1. You know, according to the flesh or whatever the case may be. That wasn't originally there. And then you see in chapter 8, I don't know, around verse 38 or whatever it is, verse 36, the formula of the baptism and everything like that. So if that's not there, that's according to the most ancient authorities, because that wasn't there originally. You understand what I'm saying? And you have other things as well. Okay? I mean, the coming one and the holy one, or whatever the case may be in Revelation. So yeah, I mean, you have a lot of things that are, for an angel, trouble the water, or whatever the case may be in John chapter 5. You see a lot of examples like that. Okay? Haas versus Theos. You see, I found it recorded in, Haas in the most ancient text, not Theos. You understand what I mean? Anyway, that's just it. Now, all right. Now, let's look at the Greek, okay, of that. But I just want to comment upon it a little bit further. Okay, so let me just comb right through it before this battery runs out over here, okay? Okay, then the sign. Okay, then the sign now in verse 3. Okay, the disciples, okay, asked Jesus to give them a sign of two things, of his coming and of the end of the age. Okay, so I mean, so they want a sign. Well, a lot of things have to happen before, okay, that sign comes. This is the sign of signs. The other thing in this chapter also that preludes the coming of Jesus, the parousia of Jesus. You know, the spreading of the gospel throughout all the world is the other sign also that might be just before this sign. Okay, so if I would put it in order, okay, the preaching of the gospel will happen, and then the end will come. Well, then the end will come. Well, I mean, there's just then the darkening of the moon, and turning of the moon to blood. That the true main vein sign of Jesus is coming. You understand what I'm saying? Is that. So if somebody sets a false date or something like that, oh well, well, I mean, the Antichrist has to be, okay, in power. I mean, if you don't see any Antichrist, okay, first of all, if the church is not raptured, I mean, there's no tribulation period. Okay, the different nations recorded in Revelation chapter 4 proves that the rapture, okay, spoken by Paul in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. You understand what I'm saying? If that doesn't happen, okay, alongside, coming after that, okay, the appearance of the first beast and the second beast, meaning the Antichrist, Antichristos, okay, and the false prophet, a pseudo prophet. Okay, if those things did not occur, and the changing of the changing of the moon into blood, and even before that, the darkening of the sun, if those things don't happen or didn't happen yet, there is no coming of Christ yet, okay, at hand. It's impossible. Antichrist has to reign, okay, for 7 years, and then, I mean, he's not going to be reigning in that sense of he's going to make sure he reigns by breaking the covenant and setting up his image and stuff like that. The false prophet, is going to do that anyway, and breathing life into the image. And unless those things happen, there is no coming of Jesus. Like people will say, oh, well, he's going to come next year. And it's not even, let's say somebody says that he's going to come next year in 2024. And we all know that Antichrist is not even, he's not even a little horn yet, probably. Okay? This is, I mean, and there's no statue there, there's no image, there's no tribulation period, and all that other stuff, you know what I'm saying? But let's get to this again. So that's the true sign. The true sign is the darkening of the sun and the changing of the moon into blood. Okay, haimata is the Greek word for blood. Okay, in Acts, Praxis Apostle on the Acts of the Apostles chapter 2. Then the sign. So we saw the sign. Then the sign of the Son of Man. The Son of Man, okay, is the greatest title for Jesus in the Bible. There is nothing else greater than that, because when you hear Son of Man, you immediately, okay, are taken, okay, to, even though God the Father, he wasn't God the Father at the time, but God the Father, who we now know as God the Father, is said to be the Ancient of Days in Daniel chapter 7. But the thing is that Jesus also has the same appearance as the Ancient of Days in the book of Revelation chapter 1. And in some other chapters in Revelation. So listen, they all have one face. Okay, we see that in, I think it's verse 16 of chapter 6 of Revelation. So they all have one panim, one face, so one prosopan. Panim in Hebrew means face, and then prosopan in Greek means face. But they all have one face. Okay, so that's proving the deity of Christ, also found and recorded, like I said before, in Revelation chapter 6, around verse 16, that they all have one face. Okay, so he is the image of the invisible God. That means that he has the same, okay, likeness, okay, when it comes to nature. You understand what I'm saying? Not the second nature, but the first nature, nature A or one. You understand what I'm saying? He was in the, Has Marfe Teu Huparchon, who being in very nature God. That's found and recorded, okay, in the NIV, but it's found and recorded in Greek, Has and Marfe Teu Huparchon, in the Greek. But let's get back to this, okay? So the Son of Man, I mean, that appears like around, 80 times or whatever the case may be in the Greek New Testament. This is the greatest title for Jesus' deity anywhere in the Bible. It surpasses everything, even theos. The title of God that Jesus has. This is even greater than that. So, Son of Man. Well, just look at Daniel chapter 7 and you're going to see the deal. It says over here, then the sign of the Son of Man, okay, tu anthropo, will appear, in the heaven. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's going to be very visible. That's just the deal. It's going to be very, very visible. It's not going to be an invisible coming. It's not going to be an invisible presence. So, the tower, again, the watchtower, they had their Burger King castle for a very long time, okay, in Brooklyn, and then they just recently moved and got kicked out of Russia, meaning that tower. I mean, they said that he came invisibly. It's a cop-out. I hate to use the word cops, because the thing is that I have police officers in my family, or at least retired ones anyway, And so, but the thing is that You can't say that, well, Jesus is going to come, the sign of, and then when he doesn't come, well, he came invisibly. So it's like, I could do that myself. I could say that Jesus is coming tomorrow, and if he doesn't, well, then, oh, well, he came invisibly. Oh, come on, man. I mean, the garbage, man. The tower with the castle. Oh, come on. It's just a deal. Then the sign of the Son of Man. So is it an invisible sign? No. Not the invisible sign. Does it say invisible here? So I say, if you want the word invisible, I mean, go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Come on, man. Where the earth was invisible under the element of water. That's not what I'm saying. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear, okay, in heaven. So you're going to see him. Every eye shall see him. It says verse 7 of chapter 1 of Revelation. You understand what I'm saying? And all the tribes, okay, of the earth will mourn. Okay, will wail. Okay, they will see. They will see the Son of Man arriving on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Let's go to the Greek before, okay, my carriage turns into a pumpkin and the battery, runs out. You understand? Let's check this out. I have Matthew here. Now, let me see what this is all about. For wherever, if, what? Let me see. The carcass, that's verse 28, and this verse 29 there. So this is verse 30. Okay, so let's check it out. And then, okay, so kai for and, right? The other way around. And is translating the Greek word kai. Nowadays pronounced ke in modern Greek. Then tate, T-O-T-E or tau, omicron, tau, nowadays called tough epsilon, will appear. Okay, so that's fa ne setai. All right, now final is in the Greek lexicon. That's a lexical form. Phi, that's a ph in Greek, equal to the pe in Hebrew. That can be a ph sounding letter also, along with a p sounding letter. Like potato chips and stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? Phi alpha iota nu. Now these called ni omega. All right, now so will appear. How can a structure change from final to, okay, all right, fa ne setai? Because final is in the present tense, but it's not built upon the present. Okay, the present tense is the most irregular form of the Greek verbs. Okay, sometimes you'll see a double consonant. Sometimes you'll see an iota stuck in the middle of it, or whatever the case may be. And so it's very, very irregular. It's just like the nominative of the noun system. Sometimes it's very irregular as well. Okay, just see the demonstrative, hutas. I mean, you see the rest of the paradigm, tutu, tuto, tutan, like that, or whatever the case may be, in the masculine is very irregular. Okay, you see has in a relative pronoun. And you see the rest of the stuff, and you see it's just different. All right, now, so you see will appear. So fine, okay, is here. Now the eta lengthen a letter there because that's usual before the tense stem, or tense not tense stem but tense formative. So you have let's work backwards. You have the tie. Okay, so you have a passive personal ending from the primary active personal ending side of the chart. Okay, so you have a chart. So you have 4 boxes, right? Okay, so primary active personal endings and primary passive personal endings, and then secondary active endings and secondary passive personal endings. They're all personal endings. So you have to know that graphic. You have to know that paradigm, the paradigms in those boxes. because then you cannot tell what's what person, okay, is in is being tagged on a verb. So you have to know your my side tie. That's just the deal, Metas the tie. You have to know that. The primary passive personal ending tie is here, and that's a third person, a primary passive. I hope I didn't say active or personal ending. Okay, tie. Okay, so that's just a deal. And before that is a connecting vowel, epsilon. You see it before. You see it right in the middle of the sigma and the tau. And then what's being connected to it is the sigma here, and there's only one sigma. That's the future transformative. That's your clue that you're in the future tense. When you see the sigma, okay, appear in a verb like this, in the setup, okay, you know that you're looking into the future tense. Okay, that's just the deal. Now, sometimes the future tense it's not going to have the sigma written out because it could be a liquid future. But in this situation, like egero, I will raise, right? Found it recorded around verse 19 or 20 or chapter 2 of John. But in this situation, we have the sigma, and that's showcasing the future. It's just like looking at the word will in English, and that's in the future. In English, I will go to the store, so they use a helping verb, will. The Greeks don't do that. The Greeks use a letter to signify the future tense, okay, in a Greek verb, and it's stuck right in the middle of it. In the center of the middle of the stem and the connecting vowel, right over here. So anyway, will appear. Okay, now, so phino is the other Greek word that means appear for Jesus. Okay, meaning of the coming. That means coming for Jesus, that he's coming. It says appear. All right, let's go on. Time is of the essence. Appear, the sign. Okay, ta, that's a singular article from the neuter side of the paradigm. Okay, will appear, nominative. So, ahoy, let me see, I'm sorry, that's plural. Ha, he, ta, that's that side of the paradigm, you understand? Sign, semeon here, like I said before, semeon, spelled out sigma, eta, nowadays called eta, mu, nowadays called me, epsilon, iota, omicron, nowadays called omicron, and nu, nowadays called ni. Why do I say that? People are going to be picky. They say, well, if I just give you the, sigma, eta, mu, epsilon, iota, on and on and on, they say, well, I don't know the pronunciation of the modern. They're just going to be picky. Two, okay, is here of the genitive singular article. Okay, the construction is the same for masculine and neuter, right? And that's just the deal. And that's masculine there. Okay, and sun, so the huiu has two right in front of it, so tu huiu. Huios means sun. Huiu means of, if you want to say of the sun. Okay. Tu tu is here, and then that's not translated. Of man, okay, anthropo. Okay, that's just it there. Anthropo, spelled out ANTHROP OU, or alpha nu. Theta nowadays called theta. Rho, don't say rho, that's very lazy for the Greeks. Omega P omicron upsilon, nowadays called epsilon. In, okay, that's N. Okay, to Urano, like I said before. Okay, the dative form of Uranas. Okay, so the paradigm for heaven there in the singular will be Uranas, Urano, Urano, Urana. That's the singular paradigm. Why it says Tan Uranan in Genesis 1:1, I have no idea. Unless it's forced to sort of have what the Tain Gain has, you know. But Atus Uranus will be a better translation for that because Hashamayim, Hashamayim, like that, that's plural, heavens, in Hebrew, Hashamayim. But anyway, this is Greek. En to urano. And, okay, in the heaven, and, Greek word kai, then, tate, again, will, mon, okay, will mon, caps, it says over here, capsanta, capsantai, actually, there's a iota there, capsantai, tate capsantai, will mon. Now the future tense. Now where's the future tense? Where's the sigma? You said that the sigma sometimes showcases the future tense. Is the sound of it anyway? Is in the letter, a compound letter called psi. It's a ps letter. So the genius of the future tense is that you can see the sigma in a compound letter like psi and psi. Okay, so I mean, if it needs to be there, the sigma, and a p is before it, or a kappa is before it, they're just going to write it out like kasi or pasi, or pasi or kasi. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. So it's going to be hidden under the accent, as not to use a Catholic term, of a compound letter. That's all. So the sigma is not going to be written out. So if you have a p like you have here, the Greeks are not going to write p and s if they need to write the sigma. They're just gonna write a letter that already contains those two sounds, and you have a P and a S combo letter in Psi. Okay, that's just all there is to it. So it's rewritten. The sigma, the P and the sigma are rewritten as a Psi, and that's the genius, because you can have your cake and eat it too. You can maintain the sound of the P and have your sigma, your future transformative at the same time. So just be careful with that. Sometimes you're not going to see the sigma. You're going to see it you're going to hear it anyway in a compound letter, or see it like you see it a little bit in kasi anyway. All right. So the sigma is here, even though you don't see it right off the bat. Okay, you just have to know that the sigma is encased or rewritten in the pasi. Anyway, so over here, let me put that up a little bit higher. Okay, kapto, okay, means mourn. Kapto, I mourn, right? So the towers dropped. Let me see, the towers dropped off like it usually does. Okay, drop off like in Panumat, right? That Panuma, the tau dropped off. Okay, in that third declension word, you could use the genitive to actually see, the original stem, like panumatos, panumat, right? And dental dropped off here, the tau, right? Like the delta can drop off, also like that, and so cop is here, which is the stem. And then you have your connecting vowel, okay? You have your connecting vowel. And then you have your untai is here, okay? Untai is a third person ending, okay, from the meta ste untai side of the paradigm. Sometimes it gets rewritten or usi. Anyway, so that's just the deal. So if you want to really learn the future tense, man, that's so many. I didn't count them all. I mean, it's painstaking to do. But in these 51 verses, there's tons of future tenses, tons of imperatives and subjunctives. Okay, and you have basically all the articles of the 24 article paradigm. I didn't count them all, but I see basically all the articles here. Okay, if not all, it'll be in the 20s. I'll guarantee you that. You understand? All right. So anyway, tate kapsantai actually. Then will amon. Okay, all, and so you have pas. You have pasai there from pas. Okay. That's just the deal. So you have that there. The original was punt was the original. Now, why is it pas? Okay, well, because the thing is that the nu and the tau dropped off. When you put the sigma, okay, after the tau of pont, then the nu and the tau dropped off, and then you're left in the lexicon with pas. Okay, now, this is an adjective here. Why am I not seeing this? What's the deal with this? Let me take out the highlight. It's because it's hiding the letter. Where was I at though? Adjective, nominative, feminine, plural. Okay. So getting back to the passage. It says over here, and you have high coming up next. The tribes. So tribes is in the feminine plural. Okay, fulai. Okay, fulai. Okay, so high fulai. And and that's taste, of the earth, the tribes of the earth. Okay, taste, gaze, and that's all genitive constructions. Taste, gaze, singular, by the way, and kai, they will see. Now look at this, absantai, actually, from horao, no, that's just a lexical form. Okay, it doesn't come from horao, meaning that construction. You don't build, okay, the future on horao. It uses a completely different tense stem. Horao is a lexical form tagged by the famous, okay, 3708 number, Strong's number, spelled out Omicron, nowadays called Omicron, with a rough breathing, so it's ha. And then you have ro, alpha with the cube marker, and the omega. I see, right? Or I perceive. Okay, that's just a deal. They will see, okay, absantai. Now, the untai is there, so that's passive. That's passive. They will see. Untai is here. Then you have your omicron, and then you have your psi, written to contain the sigma, the future transformative, and we already saw that. Okay, in our last word, that to contain this structure with the psi, the sigma and the psi. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing going on here. There's no sigma, but the sound of the sigma, okay, is in the psi, because you have your op. Okay, that's your future tense stem, right? And then since it's gonna be in the future, okay, then you have your sigma, but they don't write P and S. They just write it out like C, like I said before. Okay, so just be careful with that. They will see, absantai. They will see. Okay, and that's tan, accusative article. San, huian, tan huian, of man, okay, to anthropo, of man coming, okay, erchamenan. Now that's a participle. Why? Man, you don't even have to look. You don't even have to look at where it says V-PPM. First of all, that could be very confusing sometimes, unless you get, used to it. But the present participle is a present participle middle slash passive, and you have your erchamai, okay, erchamai, but even though it's middle in form, middle and passive in form is active in meaning. So this is a present participle. This is active. Okay, this is active. Forget about the forget about the mena, because that's what it'll be, because it's masculine. Forget about that. This is a deponent word. It's in the present, so this is active in meaning. Okay, so just forget about that. That's tricky, because it has a passive ending. You think it's passive in nature, and it's not. Okay, erchamai. This is a famous, deponent word. Oops. Or I have some right there. So the Mao said in his studies, okay, being taught the passive construction, that the opponent word, though it be passive or middle form, is active in meaning. That's the key to understand. Okay, a deponent word. So just because it's passive doesn't mean it's not active. Okay, it's not like that all the time with this kind of oh my word, if you will, coming. That's a participle. So your participial morpheme, okay, from the participial morpheme chart is mena here. Okay, you don't see the alpha. That was dropped off, I think, for a connecting vowel there, omicron, and then you have your case ending nu, which is a regular thing, uh, and and then of course you have here as the stem. Okay, so your mena is here as the participial morpheme. Okay, participial morpheme. Okay, so that's just it. You have your participial morpheme. You have your own. You have your mena. You have your mene. You have your usa. You have your huya. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you have your nutal, and then you have your ta, and then you have your meta. So those are all the masculine forms. Okay. So that's just it right there. Okay. So you have your nutal, and then you have your legantes or whatever the case may be, right? So you have your new tau, your tau omicron, your mena, and those are the masculines, and then you have your huya and usa and all that delicious stuff, and the other way around actually than the mene, yeah, for the feminine participial morpheme. So the way you can tell this is a participle is by the ending. It's by the not the ending though, but the because there's a case ending here. By the participial morpheme, they use a set of letters to point out a participle. You see, so when you see huparchon, the on is pointing out that there's a participle. What happened to the on? What happened to the whatever it would be antas there in like haon? Well, the case ending was dropped off, and then the nuna ta was dropped, and the ta was dropped off anyway, and then you're just left with on like haon, when God says haon of Himself. Ego eimi haon. Letters were taken out of the of ontas, and so you're left with just on. So that's just a regular thing for towels to drop off anyway, a dental like that. You understand what I'm saying? So coming, it says over here, ercha menon. So the omicron is a connecting vowel, and the nu is a case ending. So you have a verb with a case ending here. That's the tricky thing about participles. That you have your verb form, and then you have a case ending of a noun here, colliding with a verb. So that's a tricky thing. So erchamai coming, on, and so he'll be coming on epi. This is the genitive of place. On epi ton. So it's taking a genitive epi there. Okay, ton as a plural genitive article. Ton all across the board for those articles in the article paradigm. Clouds, and that's nephelon, clouds. The same Greek word found and recorded in verse 7 of chapter 1 of Revelation. He's coming in the clouds. It says over there. Okay, and then du is not translated of heaven. It will be uranu. And then with, okay, it's a preposition, meta. with power. It says over here, uh, dunameos, actually dunameos, and this is dunamis, which means power. Okay, explosive power, said Barnhouse when he was talking about Luke, chapter 21 in his morning reading, or his not really morning reading, but his scriptural reading before the actual sermon in the service so long ago. He spoke about the explosive power that people are going to be seeing. You understand what I'm saying? Before Jesus is coming and during his coming. You understand what I'm saying? Now, where am I? It says power, dunamis, I'm using the magnifying glass, guys. Dunameos. Delta, upsilon, nowadays called epsilon, nu, nowadays called ni. Alpha with the acute marker, mu, nowadays called me. Epsilon, omega, final sigma. And Greek word chi, nowadays pronounced ke in modern Greek, glore. Okay, and then there's an attributive adjective after that, great, and it says pales. But doxase is in the genitive case construction, doxase. And delta, omicron, chi, eta, nowadays called eta, and final sigma. Okay? So that's just it. Doxa is the lexical form. Doxase. But it's not only glory, is great glory. The attributive adjective is here. Okay, pales. Now, let's see. Doxase, pales, power and great glory. So we saw the Greek of this, very long. Okay, and this is talking about the second coming of Christ, how it's going to be. Chi for and, or and for chi, hos, and that's as looking, that's a participle. Okay, and you have the active there. You see the active there, active voice, the nu and the tower there. That's on the active side of the participial morpheme paradigm. Remember I said the nu tau can be a pointer of the participial construction. You have it right over here before the case ending. Okay, so that's just it. So as looking, and that's atenizantes, looking. Understand? Looking, they were into. Okay, Hasan, Asan actually, into is ace preposition there. Not to be confused with haste, which means one. And that's tan, that's the accusative masculine article. Singular, heaven, uranan. As was going, it says over here, paru amenu. And then you have your masculine mene there, and a genitive case ending on this verb here. So you have a verb here, and then whether you have a case ending here, a genitive case ending. That's another Greek word though. Was going. Parousia means coming of presence. And so auto, okay, then, okay, so then kai is then is being used to translate kai, behold, okay, idu, that's an imperative, okay, that's epsilon there, imperative morpheme. You don't see the epsilon, you see the omicron, upsilon, but the epsilon pressed against the omicron, changing into this diphthong here, u. And then men, anthropes, Andres, I should say, Andres, two, and as duo, okay, two, okay, stood by, pareste, pareste, pareste que son. Them, altois as in the dative plural. And then in preposition apparel. Okay, apparel. And this is estesi. And you have the Luke here, Luke ice. That's white. Okay, and it'll be the next verse. Who, and that's hoi, and that's in the that's a relative pronoun from the plural masculine side of the chart. Also, Kai said, okay, Apon said, oops, what is this? What is that? That just popped up. Okay, said, okay, men, okay, Andres, it says over here, Galileans, capital Gamma, Alpha, Lambda, Iota, Lambda, Alpha, Iota with a circumflex, Omicron, Iota, making it noun as a plural, and that's in the vocative though. Okay, Galilaioi. Why, it says stay there. Why do you, okay, stand? Why do you stand? Estécate, and that's personal ending te. Okay, and that's the kappa alpha perfect morpheme. Kappa, that's a kappa perfect there. Kappa alpha is sometimes used to point out the perfect tense. Kappa alpha, okay? And that's just it. This is a me verb, actually. Me verb. That's just it, though, huh? Now, the sigma and iota, the reduplication is found in is the sigma was reduplicated to another sigma, but you don't see the sigma, you see the rough breathing marker. That's how it is in me verb. So the reduplication, not the perfect, this is the present I'm talking about, but the sigma has been reduplicated to another sigma, but they don't write it out like that. They just use a rough breathing marker, like almost an illusionary sigma. You know, and they wrote out they have a man, it's early in the morning, guys. You know what I'm saying? At least the dog shut up though. Goodness gracious. I know there's dog lovers out there, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Who cares? You know, be a lover of God. You know, Theophilus instead of a lover of dogs. So some of you out there, you understand what I'm saying? Goodness gracious. Having people loving pets more than God. Goodness gracious. All right. Anyway, I was trying to say that the sigma reduplicated to another sigma, but the Greeks don't write out it like that. They'll use the rough breathing, sort of like a sigma, okay, to point out the reduplication. Okay. All right. Now, but this is in the perfect tense, and there's no reduplication here in the textual form, but you see the kappa and the alpha. Okay. And that's just the deal. In a me verb, okay, kappa and alpha can point out in the aorist, could point out an aorist construction. The kappa and alpha will be used to point out the perfect, but in a me verb, it will be pointing out for one reason or another, okay, the aorist tense. So it's very, okay, tricky because we're used to the sigma and the alpha doing that, or the sigma and the epsilon in the third person singular. So we're used to that. Now, so I better get going. Do you stand looking? And that's blepantes. Okay, so you see the new towel that's in the active, right? Active voice. And you see the epsilon sigma there. Okay, because it's you know, that's a case ending uh, in the on the plural, in the masculine plural, by the way. Okay, case ending epsilon sigma. Okay, in the third declension what? Okay, blepantes, looking. So he was very visible. Okay, into ace. Okay, atan uranan, in the heaven or in the sky. Okay, this. Okay, hutas. Okay, this Jesus, the same Jesus, the same. So you translate hutas into same. Okay, how you don't translate that? Jesus, you do. Jesus, nominative case construction. Okay. Ana le me fe fes. Okay. Having been taken. It says over here, having been taken. Okay. Having been taken up. You see the preposition ana here for up, like in the Greek word anastasis. I'm rushing. Okay, from you. Okay, that's up, up, but they aspirated it. Okay, into off, elision, humon, you, and I from you. And this is into ace tan. We have an uranan. Thus, okay, hutos, and then they made an adverb out of it. Okay, so you have hutas here, the noun, pronoun, and then you have or demonstrative, and then they made an adverb out of it, adding the taking out the omicron, adding the omega, hutos. In like manner, okay, in the same way you saw him go up, he's going to come down from heaven. Will come, okay, elusatai, elusatai will come. Future tense form of the sigma right there, connecting all epsilon and tie. My side tie deal in that. Okay, han. Okay, relative pronoun manner. Okay, trapan. You beheld. Okay, and that's in the aorist, the augment there. I have to hurry up. Him, auton. I better going. Okay, and that's mene again, pointing out the participle. I have to go into ace. Okay, heaven. I better go because this thing is going to be annihilated. It's going to be destroyed. This angelo Quinones given glory to God the Father, to the Lord Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Spirit. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those was. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, Greek P, and please leave a comment on the screen. Thank you, guys. Bye.